Yo, what is up, YouTube? It's your boy Legend, and I'm back with another video. You already know what this is just by looking at the thumbnail. Now, I am extremely tired at the moment, so I'm going to try to get through this with the best of my ability. But if you guys like the video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe right at it. But without further ado, let's get into this intro so we can start this. What if? We start this episode off with Kakashi. He wiped away the streak of blood that stained under his eye as he looked at the dead body of Genma and the unconscious Tasumi and her dog companion. He covered his eye with his headband before he looked off with a pissed off expression. The Sand was extremely lucky that Gaara was not here. An attack was made on Tamari, and not a single damn Sand Shinobi helped. Not that it would make a difference. It would just be more dead bodies lying around him. He was only mad because the third strongest Jonin of the Leaf was killed in the attack, and Kankuro was dead. And now the Kazekage was gone. Meanwhile, Tamari found herself in a very uncomfortable position. She was chained to the ceiling of some building, half naked and cold as hell. She couldn't even feel the slightest grasp of her chakra. She then saw something move from the corner of her eye as she turned to see the figure leave. It was either a boyish looking girl or a feminine looking guy. She really couldn't tell. She looked up at the chains that held her. They were rusty, easy to break, with enough trauma. But she didn't know how to apply that trauma, nor did she have the strength to move from the strain on the arms. Off in the distance, Shisui sat with Itachi in a cave before paper started to come and materialize into a person. Konan came from the papers and looked towards Shisui. Super Toby plans to go after the Seven Tails once again, and pretty soon Pain will go to Konoha. I have to inform him of the failure by Kisame, Deidara, and Kakazu. Konan was about to speak again, but Itachi cut her off. When do you think he will plan to go to Konoha? Konan turned to Itachi. After I tell him of their failed attempt on the 1 and 9 Tails, he will most likely go there within the next day. Itachi nodded as he started to come up with a plan to assist Konoha without being there in the flesh to keep his cover. Konan turned back to Shisui. You will also have to find a way to deal with Black Zetsu. Soon, he will find out that you are not who you claim to be. Recently, he hasn't been in the recent gatherings, and the one time I did catch wind of him, he was speaking with someone with a raspy voice. I made my leave to make sure he would not sense my presence. Shisui visibly stiffened at that. Not to mention he didn't take proper methods on getting rid of the body of the fake Madara. But who was this guy with the raspy voice? The fake Madara had a raspy voice, but he killed him and took his eyes. That was something he would have to look into. Konan turned away from the two. I should take my leave. If I'm gone for too long, Pain will start to worry. With that, Konan burst into paper as she flew off. Meanwhile, in Konoha, Danzo read over a letter he had gotten from the Mizukage. She and her shinobi had disposed of more Kumo spies, and they were looking for assistance in the form of manpower in case the Raikage chose to send an actual force. Danzo had Naruto and Anko in his office, as well as he was going to send the two of them until Naruto spoke up. I don't think I'll be able to do this right now, Hokage-sama. Danzo rose an eyebrow. And why is that, Naruto? Danzo was honestly curious why Naruto was choosing to go against an order right now, so he was giving him a pass for now. They were there. They were a part of the force that helped destroy my distant home. At the moment, I'm not fit for a mission like this. Not if they want to ask for assistance. I know I shouldn't let my emotions get in the way of a mission, but the wound is still fresh. Danzo nodded in agreement, catching Naruto off guard. You don't plan on sending the two of us anymore? Naruto asked, shock clearly on his face. If one of my shinobi isn't fit for a mission, I won't risk the failure of the mission. I'll just find someone who is fit for said mission. Naruto nodded, and Danzo knew who he'd give the mission to. He give it to Sasuke and Ujiyo. He would also have Sai and Neji go along with him. Speaking of his adopted son, the plans for his compound was done, so he didn't need to reside in the Namikaze estate. Not like he actually occupied the place. He simply stayed in the Hokage Tower in the spacious room, and Sai had his own apartment for the time being. Just then, Kakashi and Tatsumi burst through the door of his office, not giving Danzo the chance to speak. Hokage, the Kazekage was taken by the Stone and Cloud forces. We believe that she may be held in Iwa for interrogation, said Kakashi. Naruto whipped around and was upon Kakashi in a second, with both hands on his collar. What the hell do you mean? How was she taken? Weren't the three of you supposed to watch over her and the village? What happened? Naruto was firing off a multitude of questions on behalf of his rival and friend. They sent their strongest. It was 3 Jinchuriki, the Tsuchikage's granddaughter, and the right-hand man of the Raikage. Kankuro was killed during the attack, and Genma died from teleporting a Biju bomb. But he was inexperienced with it, and he was already low on chakra. So it collapsed while he teleported away, and it took his arm and burned him badly. I had to Kamui away 2 Biju bombs. Naruto's hands fell limp as he released Kakashi. Send me. Danzo rose an eyebrow. What was that? Naruto turned and faced Danzo. I said send me. I'll go and get her back. Send me Akogara, Kakashi, and Tatsumi, and we will get her back. And after we do, I'll level that entire damn village myself. Naruto was angry. These pricks were choosing the wrong time to mess with him and his friends. He already had his anger boiling over. Now he just needed an outlet to release it all on, and Danzo knew this. Very well. You will go and retrieve the Kazekage along with Anko, Kakashi, and Tatsumi. This is an S-rank mission because of the circumstances. If you all are going into the deepest portion of enemy territory, I want you all to take your leave tomorrow, 1 hour before first light. You may leave. Kakashi, you stay. Everyone started to file out of the office as Kakashi stayed behind. Kakashi, I want you to stay close to Naruto on this mission. He recently found out about the murder of his entire clan, and it's changing his mindset. I don't care if he wipes the hidden stone off of the face of the elemental nation, but don't let him go out of control and release the Kyuubi. I know that's what he plans to do once you get back to Mari. If you suspect anything during the mission, I want you to incapacitate him and get him to safety. Kakashi nodded at the information. He knew that Tamari was close with Naruto on his and Sasuke's training trip. The two of them went and trained with Tamari in wind manipulation for 6 months. That's why Naruto and Tamari are so advanced in the wind element. That and Danzo also trained Naruto at a young age. With Naruto, he was vigorously storing multiple kunai and shuriken into a scroll, along with the exploding tags. He pulled out his tanto, new tanto, and ran his finger along the blade as he cut himself. Not sharp enough. Naruto started to sharpen the blade with a malicious glint in his eyes as Anko watched nervously. She saw Naruto when he was mad, but he would voice it and let it be known. But right now, he was quiet. He was irate. She knew that he had some sadistic thoughts racing through his mind. He was even sharpening his already sharp tanto. Meanwhile, Temari had blood trickling down her lip, which was swollen. She had a black eye and a gash over her left eyebrow. Alright guys, it's about to get very graphic and disturbing and sadistic. So if you guys don't like that, I suggest skipping forward a couple of minutes. And yeah. A stone Joni then slapped her across the face to wake her up as he set a bucket of boiling hot water next to him. Good. Now that you're up, let's try this again. There were Leaf Shinobi residing in your village. We want to know how you have been helping them and what they are planning. Temari made a low sound, prompting the man to come closer so he could hear her. What was that? The man leaned closer. Before letting out a shrill scream, Temari had bit down on his ear, and he was trying to free himself as he pushed her off, prompting her to rip off half of his ear as Temari swung from the chains. As she spat out the ear into his face. Screw you. You better pray I don't come free, because I take more than just an ear next time. The man glared at Temari before he punched her full force in the stomach, knocking the wind out of her as he held, well, half of his ear. Temari swung from the chains and grit her teeth from the pain. The Joni then turned as he picked up the bucket of boiling water. He then threw it at Temari as she screamed out in pain. She was lucky though, because she was swinging. Mostly all the water ended up hitting her legs from the knee down, but the occasional splash on her mid and upper body was painful. Though the water hit her legs, mainly the water was still boiling. So she would start to blister on her legs and it would cause even more pain. Temari was breathing hard. She's never screamed that hard, ever. She was then grabbed by the throat, stopping her swinging as the stone Joni looked at her with hate. Eyes down here, bitch. Don't think I'm done with you. I want my information. I don't care how I have to go about getting it. He then walked out of the room and came back with a few things a few seconds later. With a black sack over his shoulder, he dumped all the contents onto the floor as Temari went wide-eyed. It was a glass bottle, some shards of glass, needles, scalpel, a jar of roaches, and a mallet. But that's not what had her eyes wide with tears. Konkuro's indented head also came tumbling out of the sack. Temari's brain function threatened to shut down as tears fell from her face, but the sadness was replaced by rage as the man picked up the head and set it down in front of her and picked up the mallet. Look here, you arrogant woman. Tell me what I want. If you don't, I'll smash your brother's face in right here and now. Temari shook with rage. She was so mad that she even tried to overwrite the chakra suppressors placed on her again, but to no avail. Go to hell. The man simply chuckled before he turned. He brung his hand and mallet all the way back before striking the head as Temari cried out. The head was sent flying as it smashed against the wall. The man walked up to it and picked it up with glee in his eye. Oh my god, did I do that? He walked over to Tamari and put the head in her face as she turned her head away. Look, Kazekage, I hit him so hard, I popped his eye out. Look, look, look. Tamari never looked as she cried, which angered the man as he grabbed her face and forced her to look. I told you to look, damn it. The sight was horrendous. Kankuro now had a dent on the side of his head, with the top of it caved in. His face was swollen, so much so that he was barely recognizable. Gashes ran all over the right side of his face in a pattern of spider webs, and his eye was indeed popped out of its socket, while the other collapsed in the socket as the black liquid from the iris oozed down the side of his face. Tamari cried at the horrid sight that she was being forced to look at. Now, wasn't it a lot easier to look, Kazekage-sama? Tamari looked up at the one who dare mock her and do that to her brother's head. What's your name? The man smiled like a fat kid in a candy store. My name is Orpheus Roga. Tamari gave a smile that meant something bad was going to come. Well, Orpheus, do you have a family by any chance? The man got a dreamy look in his eyes. Yes, my wife, Rosalind, and my two little girls, Rhea and Fidelity. Tamari now started to chuckle as her hair shadowed her eyes. You're not too smart, are you? I'll give you a word of advice. Kill me now, because if you don't, when I get free from this dried up shithole, I will slowly slaughter your entire family tree, starting with your wife and then your offspring. Then I'll shove my steel fan down your throat until your windpipe bursts from the inside out. That is a promise. The man, now named Orpheus, glared at Tamari before he picked up the glass bottle. A large flame came from his hand as he heated it up at the base till it was glowing. He then pressed it against her back as she let out a scream that could cause damage to the ears. After a few seconds, the glass shattered from being pressed up against her cold skin as some of the shards lodged themselves into her skin. The next day, it was currently 5 a.m. and Naruto stood at the front gate. Anko, Kakashi, Gaara, and Tatsumi were also there. They were about to leave, but Kakashi stopped them. Naruto, Gaara, a word with you. The two of them turned around and collapsed. Because the two of them were not in sync with their Biju, they succumbed to the visual prowess of Kakashi's Mangekyo Sharingan. Are you sure that was wise, Kakashi? We may need some heavy hitters for this, Anko said. Kakashi said nothing as he and his team leapt off. If the two of them go out of control, they will be at their weakest, and if they have a seal master, if they release them, it will get ugly. That's not a risk I'm going to take, Kakashi said. Anko looked back to see two Anbu flash away with Naruto and Gaara. Where would they be taken? Kakashi kept moving. They will be placed in underground cells at the Anbu facility. We don't need them following us, if or when they wake up. The three Jonin and one dog continued on their way to the hidden stone. Meanwhile, Danzo just handed Yujeo a scroll. Her and Sasuke were to go to the mist and act as the Mizukage's personal security detail along with a few other people. I won't send you all at once because no one needs to know that we are helping Kiri. The two vanished via Sunshin as they made their way to the mist, but little did they know that the two of them, on their journey, that it would be delayed. Delayed because of a certain scavenger that was doing all she could to offer assistance to the one person she cared about. And she would do anything for this person. Time skip. 6 hours later, Naruto and Gaara woke in a cell with their chakra sealed, but they still had their equipment. So, I guess we can't be trusted for this mission. Naruto gave a bitter chuckle as he punched the wall. Gaara didn't have his Gort, so them escaping was pointless. All they could do is wait. Meanwhile, with Yuji and Sasuke, the two of them slowed down their pace to save energy and travel farther. They were only 1 hour from the docks. From there, and they would make the rest of the trip by boat. Both Sasuke and Yuji had their senses alert, but they felt nothing. As they continued tree to tree, all of a sudden Sasuke and Yuji heard what sounded like footfalls trying to match theirs, and they were doing a good job at it. The only reason why they heard the person was due to a large gap between trees that they had to jump. The two of them stopped and waited. The area suddenly got cold as the temperature around them dropped. Sasuke and Yuji narrowed their eyes and scared the surrounding area before Yuji blocked a strike with her blade, but was still sent flying. Sasuke didn't even see anything. He only saw a faint blur, and Yuji was rocketing through the air. He quickly activated his Sharingan to see the person movement, and he saw them. She was zigzagging from tree to tree as her hand started to morph into a sword, and a black flame pattern covered her skin. Sasuke brung up his sword as he clashed with Mondis before she stopped. You have the same eyes as him. You will do. I'll try not to kill you. Sasuke pushed her back, but his heart was racing. She was strong. He didn't even feel her till she was upon him. Sasuke's sword lit up with lightning as sweat ran from his brow before the two shot off in a blur. Sasuke was lucky. The two only clashed, but it was clear she had the advantage. If Sasuke didn't have his Sharingan active, he would be dead from failing to dodge the poisonous appendages. Sasuke was focused. He never engaged someone on this level, not to mention she was holding back. But she could not kill him, but he could do so freely. Sasuke jumped away as two exploding kunai landed with a boom as Yuji landed next to him. Are you hurt, Sasuke? Sasuke shook his head, and his eyes morphed into the Mangekyo as they showed a menacing pattern. The three of them stood there for a second before they all blurred away. Sasuke could see her movements more clearly, and Yuji struggled a little, but she was still able to cover Sasuke's openings because they were all clashing. Sasuke and Yuji slowly started to think that Mondis could not use any ninjutsu. Sasuke closed his left eye as Mondis noticed and jumped back. Sasuke snapped his eye open as the blood vessel started to stress. Amaterasu! Mondis moved as the attack hit the tree behind her. Mondis stood and pointed a finger. That was impressive, but I already seen that exact jutsu. The only other one used it, but you, however, are in my way, woman. Sasuke felt foreign chakra invading his body. As he flared his chakra, he looked over and saw Yuji standing there, and Mondis was closing the distance between the two fast. Sasuke moved off as fast as he could manage. Mondis drew back her sword appendage and thrust forward, but her blade was redirected. Sasuke stood there in front of Yuji as he parried the blade before he kicked Mondis back. You good, Yuji-senpai? Sasuke didn't get an answer. Instead, he got a disturbing gurgle sound and a thud. He turned to see Yuji blinking rapidly as she tried to talk, but the poison prevented it. She couldn't even scream out in pain. Sasuke quickly came to her aid on the floor and held her. Senpai! Senpai! Sasuke started to look over her body as Mondis spoke. She won't live. The poison is already inside her. She has 15 minutes at the most. Sasuke paid no mind. He came across a small cut on her shoulder and saw some purple and orange liquid oozing out from it. His mind then stopped at the realization this was the same person that almost killed Naruto. Sasuke touched the liquid and examined it. It felt coarse on his skin as he burned it with Amaterasu. Sasuke then got an idea. Yujeo-senpai, this is going to hurt like hell. Sasuke's left eye started to bleed. Amaterasu! The black flames lit up on her shoulder, but soon shrunk to the size of a dime. Before he placed his hand over the area and started to guide the flame inside. This was dangerous. If he ran out of chakra, she would burn from the inside out. If he lost concentration or his chakra control slipped, it would be the same. Yujeo's eyes went wide when she felt the flame near her heart and stayed there for a second. Then it moved to all her other organs before Sasuke canceled the technique. Sasuke then noticed that all the trees and plants around him started to die. He didn't realize he couldn't sense Mondes anymore. He quickly turned to see her coming fast, and she had green markings on her face. She was approaching too fast. He couldn't move or bring up his sword. There was only one thing left to do. Susanoo! The ribcage of the Susanoo formed with Amaterasu coating it. But she didn't stop. She was already too close. Something unexpected and painful then happened. It all happened in slow motion. Mondes sped up. With her hand outstretched, lightning crackled around her hand. She ripped through the Amaterasu-coated ribcage. The lightning then dissipated as pure nature energy coated her hands. Sasuke's eyes went wide before there was a squelching sound as Sasuke screamed in agony. Yujeo stood and swung her sword, causing Mondes to jump back. Sasuke, are you okay? Sasuke sat there, his Susanoo gone. Sasuke removed his hand from his face as blood covered it. He tried to open his left eye, but he could not. He couldn't see from it. His eye was gone. Nature energy is a strange thing. The things you can do with it are fascinating, said Mondes as she looked at Sasuke's eye, which she held in her hand. A clone of Yujeo then appeared behind Mondes as she turned. Then another clone appeared in her blind spot of Mondes. Slice! Then there were two pops as the clones were dispelled. That's tragic. That would have been useful for my master, said Mondes as she looked down at the eye that was now cut in half. Sasuke drew up all his chakra at once, intending to destroy this woman, as he let out a primal scream and called forth his Susanoo again. Drop dead! Sasuke fired off a massive arrow that kicked up dust and sailed towards Mondes, who avoided it. When she looked up again, both Yujeo and Sasuke were gone. A distance away, Sasuke placed Yujeo down on a tree before he started to fall, but he was caught by Yujeo. Are you okay, Sasuke? Sasuke panted. I'm fine. Just tired and low on chakra. She damaged the nerves in my left eye socket, so I can't turn off the Sharingan in that eye till I have another to transplant it. Sasuke then pulled out a small tube with another set of eyes. You plan to switch right now? Sasuke opened the tube. It's either that or die of chakra exhaustion. Sasuke handed the jar to Yujeo. Can you do this? I'm still shaking with adrenaline. But guys, I'm going to end it off right there. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe while you're at it. But with